Welcome, everybody. Here we are in the afternoon of New Earth University. Aloha. It's really, really exciting, the things that we have seen and heard today. And here in this third section, I'm excited to be discussing products. That is such an important component of what we do here at New Earth, because this is where the rubber meets the road in terms of personal health. The things that we offer people to put in their bodies that we believe will make a beneficial difference in their lives. It's what almost all of us are all about. So I'm so excited for what is coming and the things that I know you're going to get to hear in this section. There are quite a few ways that you can share this section of New Earth University. Aloha. You can copy the section link and send it to whomever you'd like. And you can also share the playlist as we continue to move through New Earth University. You can share the whole event and share that playlist link with others. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the New Earth channel. You'll get all the alerts when we're going live and you won't miss a thing. Quick reminder of our special, the bundle, New Earth University Aloha bundle that we have today. 5 of our really incredible products that I know you do not want to miss. Body, Mind, Enzyme, Spectrobiotic, and Energize, and a ton of New Earth branded swag, all put together in the special pack. $318 value, selling it for $225. That deal is not going to last, not going to last at all. It will be ending today at 8 o'clock. Take advantage of it while you can. It is an incredible deal. And with that, we're going to move on into the next portion of Aloha today. We're going to talk more about our products. And to do that, who would know better about what you put in your body than maybe a registered nurse, right? Someone that knows a lot about what you put in and the benefits that you can receive when you put nutrient-dense foods in your body. And to talk to us about that, we have Amy Chadwick. She is absolutely incredible. She is a life coach. She's helped a lot of other people with their health to transform their health. And she's going to talk to us today about diet, supplements, and digestion. Probably one of the number one things that people in the United States and probably around the world struggle with. If you're not properly digesting, then it's going to be very difficult to stay healthy. So with that, take it away, Amy.
Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing this evening or during the day? I'm not sure which one. Anyway, my name is Amy Chadwick. I am a nurse by trade, but also have a background in health coaching. And I've been a personal trainer for the last about 8 years. So I have a multitude of different avenues to approach our topic tonight that I'm so excited to get to share with you. The topic today is going to be your health, your diet, supplements, and how those supplements and your diet can affect your digestion. So why don't we get started? Sadly, the standard American diet, or the SAD diet, comprises of lots of fun and wonderful foods that make us happy right at the beginning or ingestion of them. But unfortunately, the end product can lead to some maladaptive things like lots of inflammation in our bodies, as well as disease processes that we don't even consider as we're ingesting that really good cookie or donut or hamburger. A study actually discovered that the average American gets about 57 or 60% of their calories from foods that are ultra processed. And by this ultra processed, we can guess that this is not coming from the ground, or originally it came from the ground, but then after a multitude of different chemicals and maybe heating, cooling, now all of a sudden we have something like a potato chip. So it's not technically food anymore, but it's called a potato chip because it was derived from a potato. The average American also consumes around 17 teaspoons of added sugar every day. And the most recent recommendations for sugar is that women only get 4 teaspoons and men only have 6 teaspoons of sugar each day. So, I mean, we're looking at, quadrupling basically the amount of sugar that we have. Let's look at our foundation. The average FDA recommendation nowadays is 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And when they look at a serving, they really are looking at a half a cup of a fruit or vegetable. That's really not that much. I feel like we can just do better than that. If you look at things like the autoimmune protocol, or different diets out there, such as paleo or vegan. I mean, we're pushing upwards of 9 to 10 servings of vegetables and fruits a day. And that's really the basis of getting a lot of our minerals and vitamins. In another study, just 1 in 10 adults met the federal fruit and vegetable guidelines. And so, I mean, when you're looking at 1 in 10, that's not very many. And I can think of myself when I have to go to the hospital and I see patients. Yeah, it's really hard to slam in, a nice big salad, or, I want to eat my roasted potato soup or my, carrot sticks. Those I can actually get in. But ultimately, those days, it becomes really challenging to get those in. So I have to think ahead and I have to meal prep in order to do that. So why do we want to eat more vegetables and fruits? I mean, what are some basic, simple principles around that? Well, eating them actually equals a healthier body. That means we get to do more of what we love in less pain and more comfort. So here's a couple of things that you may not have known with a whole food diet. And again, whole food is basically going off the principle that a food that comes from the earth that doesn't have a label, and something like chicken or beef or pork, that is still a whole food because technically it came from the earth and an animal, and it doesn't have a label of 500 different ingredients. So who knew that eating fresh fruits and veggies can help your eyesight? I mean, we always got told, eat your carrots, you can see better, but ultimately, it has been proven that that can help us, especially as we age and those things start to degenerate. We need to support that. When you're eating a whole food diet, you're actually preventing constipation by giving it fiber and really getting that fiber in to push basically your trash through is helpful. With the Nurse Health Study 1 and 2, they found that women who ate more than 5.5 servings, so again, we're looking of upwards of 7 to 9, especially cruciferous, which is your broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and yellow and orange vegetables, which are also good for your eyes. And antioxidants, which we find in a lot of our foods, especially in this study, it was cranberries. They can help halt the activity of bacteria because they raise the acidity. So again, eating those whole foods, you think they're just good for you, but ultimately, when you understand how they can help your body, it kind of gives you more of a buy-in of why you should do it each day. How do we do this? What is this, tips for healthy eating? Everyone says, oh, eat healthy, I mean, we are busy. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like it's just become even more crazy as of lately. So how do we get these, 5+ servings of fruit and vegetables a day? The first one is probably my favorite and the one I adhere to the most, which is meal prepping and menu planning. So my partner and I, we sit down and we go through, hey, what do we have in our fridge? What's in our garden? What's in our freezer? Let's try to create a meal. How many meals can we get out of this? And then on Sundays, we spend about 4 hours and we prep 3 different main dishes. And then we have a lot of little sides such as, cut up apples and berries and yogurts and those type of things. So we have a bunch of grab and goes, but we also have already prepped 3 meals that help us to get going so we can take that to work with us, or if we come home, there's something already created. A lot of the time, costs can be prohibitive, so using frozen or canned items can help minimize that. If you cook in bulk, so things like beans and rice, if you cook in bulk with those and use them for many different meals, it really cuts the cost down. We like to make smoothies and freeze them for later. You can do 2 or 3 at a time. If time is an issue, there are a lot of really new wonderful meal delivery services. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say their names or not, but using a meal delivery service, especially if you have if you're a paleo or you're vegan, they actually nowadays will cater to those special requests. My heart patients have to eat low salt, so a lot of them cater to a low salt type of meal as well. And then, of course, internet has tons of stuff for Pinterest or recipes and that type of thing. So next, because the standard American diet, like we were talking about, does not get enough of our fruits and vegetables. This is actually a very hot topic, and I call it the to supplement or not to supplement. It's a big debate in the medical field. And, people are kind of one side or the other on it. At this stage of the game, a lot of us are not eating those 5+ fruits and vegetables a day. So it might actually be a good idea to take some supplements. The standard American diet doesn't even have half of these things unless it's fortified with it. I know a lot of cereals fortify with B's and boy vitamins. And then sadly, our fruits and vegetables just are not as nutritious as they were before. In this one research article that I was looking at, unfortunately, with the elevated levels of carbon dioxide that we're experiencing now just from our environment, unfortunately, it lowers the mineral content in our plants. So even though we may be eating 5 or 6 fruits and vegetables a day, we're not getting the same kind of mineral content or vitamins that we were once upon a time. And this is a sad thing, just kind of seeing the degradation of our food. So we're going to just touch quickly upon a couple different diets who actually probably do need to supplement. And again, if you have a medical condition that has anything to do with absorption problems, that is something that you want to discuss with your providers for sure. Same thing if you have medical conditions where you have issues with calcium or vitamin D. Those are things absolutely to discuss with your providers. You may need supplements that are stronger than, over the counter. But a couple different diets that people are practicing right now, the vegan diet and the keto diet. So we'll take a look at each one of these. So for vegans, you're obviously not getting a lot of animal products, as in none. And with that comes a lack of B12. It also can come with a lack of vitamin D, as in dog. And especially in the Pacific Northwest, we need vitamin D. We don't get as much sun. We're not outdoors in tank tops and shorts, except for this summer. And then, if you're not eating eggs, if you're not eating seafood, you could miss out on alpha linoleic acid, which are long chain fatty acids. Again, these are really important as we look to brain health, as we look at nerve health. And so this is where actually New Earth does come in. A lot of vegans actually use algae to supplement their diets for these vitamins. And New Earth does a great job of packing their supplements full of these things. So this is where essentials or renew, those come in. The mind is great, or just the straight algae itself. So those, that diet actually works very well with the New Earth supplements. Keto diet, that's another one. Obviously, we're looking at a very high fat diet. We are looking at very low fruits and vegetables because it has very low carbohydrate restrictions. So, I mean, some when you start the keto diet, you're looking at 20 grams of carbs or less. So even though you're eating lettuce, it still has carbohydrates in it. So you really have to be careful about how many carbs you get in, which equals less fruits and vegetables most of the time. Because of this, this is where you need things to break down high protein, high fat. And this is where digestive enzymes come into play and help actually break down your food so you can absorb it better. And you can actually get the nutrients out of the protein and fat that you're eating. Magnesium is another big one that you could be missing out on. And of course, fiber that we get from our fruits and vegetables. So again, if you are using some of the algae supplements, you can meet the requirements for this. And of course, you always get your ALA, and you can get your amino acid profiles out of this as well, especially for vegans who will need that more. And then, of course, using a whole food diet, if you are eating at least, I would say, 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and you're trying to diversify those, so a lot of green, a lot of yellow, a lot of orange foods, then you might not need to supplement as much. Again, because our food just doesn't have as many minerals, and it isn't, kind of chock full of the nutrients. And something like, if you would like to have an adjunct of, I would say, especially in the Pacific Northwest, vitamin D, or again, the amino acids that you get from the algae, that would be a great idea. So when we put this together, so diet and supplementation together, what does this mean for our digestion and our gut? So when we're absorbing nutrients from our food, we get things called antioxidants. And those antioxidants decrease the free radicals, which will decrease your chance of things such as aging, which will decrease basically the breakdown of your cells faster. I mean, those are what free radicals are, is oxidative stress. So when you get the proper enzymes to digest your food and you're getting your nutrients in a line, you are actually helping your body to decrease cellular breakdown. When you're getting supplementation as well as diet, fiber is your best friend. Fiber helps to push waste out. It's kind of like the garbage man. It takes it out, as well as extra sugar and cholesterol. So that helps to keep our triglycerides down, and it also helps to keep our blood sugar more regulated, so we're not doing this and having our crashes. It helps to keep our brains a little more in tune, especially when your blood sugar is more regulated. When you're hydrated, that actually helps to aid in waste excretion. And people forget that eating things like cucumbers and melon and things like lettuce also help with hydration. It's not just what you drink, it can be in your food as well. And last but not least, of course, probiotics. In this day and age, it's so great to have our little bacteria friends helping our gut. Get the correct bacteria into our system to help aid that digestion. When we have an imbalance of that bacteria or dysbiosis, what can happen is those bacteria actually create cravings and make you want to eat food that we shouldn't be eating. So correcting your diet and will help your digestion as well as keep your bacteria happy and not let those bad bacteria in so that you're craving chocolate all the time. So again, another point of this, when you are happy, when you're content, when your gut has the right bacteria in it, you are creating a healthy digestive tract. It's interesting because your gut and brain talk. They have some of the same chemicals, such as serotonin. About 90% is actually kept in the gut. So when you have a happy gut, you actually have a happy mood and a happy brain. It's so intricate that just thinking about food can actually start your digestive process, while being upset, sad, or angry can slow that process down. Fear can ultra rev it up and speed it so that you actually can, lose what's in your gut very fast. So actually being in a content space really does help your digestion as well. As we know, stress nowadays, there's lots of it, is a killer for digestion. So I'm not sure if anybody's noticed, but if you've had an inordinate amount of stress lately, your stomach may be making some odd noises, you may be constipated, or you may have an increase of diarrhea. So things to help that obviously are just your meditation, walks in nature, really taking a second or two to do some deep breathing. And again, that all helps move things through your belly so you can absorb your nutrients better and be healthier all at once. So taking these factors and really applying them, so looking at the best food I can eat, how do I get less stressed, how can I digest better, do I need to supplement to offset some of those days that I may have been rushing around and eating a bunch of bars, and that's about it. So if you take the time to just sit and kind of process and realize some small changes that you can make, you'll really do your body well. And that's honestly, when I say the JERF, I'm sure people have heard of it, but just eat real food. There is a purpose to that. And it does not only affect your health and your body, but it can affect your mental health as well. So if you have to supplement to help that out, you may want to talk to a registered dietitian or a provider, especially if you're doing a specialized diet. And then again, just taking those moments for yourself, giving back to yourself by feeding you what you need to live optimally, you will have your best life. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and have a good evening.
Thank you, Amy. What an incredible presentation. I really appreciate your expertise and the time that you took to teach us a little bit about how to take our health and our digestion seriously. So really, really grateful for that. Of course, you could share Amy's video with others and make a difference in their lives as well. And speaking of making a difference, let's look at an incredible New Earth Products testimonial.
I found that taking this daily has helped increase my mental clarity and my physical performance. I have a lot of energy. I wake up the next day, I'm just ready to go and get into my goals and objectives. And so far it's been great. I've been on it for a year and a half or plus, and I would recommend this to anybody and everybody.
Our next speaker for New Earth University, Aloha, is one of my favorite wellness entrepreneurs. He is just an all-around amazing person. He's a very good friend of mine. I think he is fantastic. And he's a painter, And so you would think, well, wait a second, we just had a registered nurse, we had, practitioners, all these things, but this painter knows so much about nutrition. Painting is his work, but nutrition and helping and supporting other people is his passion, without question. I know that. So I had a conversation with Ted Puschel, and I'm really grateful to be able to share that with you. Ted, take it away.
I'm thrilled to be able to be part of this program this week. And I want to thank Kevin for inviting me. I've been on the program for over 27 years. I'm going to give you a little history of where I was 27 years ago. Haven't been sick one time in 27 years. So I'm kind of thrilled about it. 2 months, I'll be 80. And I'm able to get a lot of stuff done physically and mentally, although my wife will argue about the mentally part. But my wife's been on the program same amount of time. In 27 years, she only goes 1 day a year to the doctor. She has an excellent doctor. And she's going to be 75 in about a month. And we've been able to help some of our children. And actually for 27 years, well, actually 26 years, I treated it more like a hobby because I like to be around people and like to help people get healthy and different things like that. But a little over a year ago, all of a sudden we went all over the country, and then now I have to do this as a profession, and I enjoy being around people, so I'm not having a problem with that. And I was going to cover different things with the folks today. What we've learned through the years, like 5 different things to be successful health-wise, and also to generate what I call New Earth rewards. I don't like to think of it as a business, but I love the idea of being rewarded for my efforts and my group being rewarded for their efforts. And so I'm gonna actually cover like 5 different points that I think you might enjoy, might be able to incorporate in some way. Number 1, I know a while back Kevin said that we could say that the plant, which does 3 things. It, number 1, detoxifies the body because of the chlorophyll content. Number 2, it nourishes the body because of all the vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. But the part I think that impresses me the most is that it also rejuvenates the body. And that's because of it being able to make the body produce stem cells more aggressively. And then the AFA is not a magic bullet, but when you bring it into a program, what we call the answer, it's an acronym. It stands for attitude for A, N for nutrition, S for service to others, W for water, E for exercise, R for rest and relaxation. Because all the publications I've read from different doctors and scientists and different things, they would allude to all those different things to help you to be healthy naturally. That's the main thing about it. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about if you're wanting to help people to come in the program to where they want to either get their product paid for, or if they want to generate a little extra income, we call it the sequence to success by partnering with people instead of enrolling and sponsoring. I was telling Kevin the other day, when I hear that, a lot of people, I still have people say, well, is this a pyramid scheme? No, it's not. We partner with people, teach them how to be healthy if they want to be, and how to generate an income also if they want to. So it's not a pyramid. And then I want to cover a little bit on the 4 C's. And this is things that people need to be, where you're going to be able to actually work with them. If they don't fit this category, you're never going to go anywhere with it. So the whole key is you have to find where the people are. And then one of the things I really appreciate learning from the company, and I think Kevin covered this probably a couple of years ago, maybe, ask and assess. That's the biggest problem. Sometimes we don't ask and assess. So then we just assume this or that has taken place, where if we ask the person where they want to be with their health or where they want to do as far as generating income, that's why it's so important. So that kind of goes to show you, if you get the normal natural response, you're going to have an improvement in your health, no matter who you are. You're going to have an improvement in your health when you put the right nutrients in the body. And see, the plant is so superior in all the different things that are in it. It's got over 65 vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. So when you put that in the body, it just can't help but have an improvement in its functioning. I can't believe sometimes all the things I'm able to do, not only just physically, but also mentally. Actually, I'm in the process after I finish my little Tonka toy and I'm restoring. I'm going to start learning how to play the piano, how to play the guitar, and I've got a couple books people want me to write. So I've got a long time to go yet because I got too many things on my bucket list. So again, it's not a magic bullet. You want to pay attention the kind of foods you eat. You want to eat healthy. You want to do good things for people because that's how you get happiness. Because there's more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. And then you want to drink adequate water. Whenever I hear somebody, they're not getting enough benefit from the plant, first thing I ask them, how much water are you drinking? You need to drink at least 2 or 3 pints of water every day. And if you do that, you see a nice improvement, a lot of functioning, especially if you're eating this plant along with it. And then you need a certain amount of exercise. Sad is a lot of people are not getting any exercise at all. They're really doing a lot of damage. Our Creator gave us all these body parts to use. So even I tell my wife, every couple hours, get up and walk for 5 minutes. My group all over the country, if they're not exercising, you don't have to get aggressive. All you have to do is do what the ancient did. Get out, work in the yard, walk around your house, walk around inside the house. But you have to get exercise. The body's designed for that. Doesn't have to be aggressive. In fact, if you do too much, you can actually do damage. But same thing, what's super important is getting adequate rest and relaxation. That's probably the biggest problem with most people. In fact, the lady today, she's been feeling so good, Lobby, that she's overdoing it. So today she tells me, oh, my body, my foot hurts. I feel like I need to go take a nap. And I said, it's because your body's telling you that's what you need. And you can't argue with your body. If it needs rest, I tell people you either rest because you want to, or you are going to rest because you have to, and you're probably not going to be able to pick out the time. So I know with myself, sometimes I have to listen to my body so I can be able to work the next day or do whatever it is I want to do the next day. So it's fun when you have a plant that's this powerful. It makes you really listen to your body. In fact, the gentleman brought me in. He was a internist in Laguna Beach, California. And this is a doctor speaking. He told me 3 things, and I've taught this to my whole group. Number 1, expect miracles. Okay. Number 2, accept miracles. And number 3, listen to your body. Now, I don't know why he said listen to your body, but I think the vice president's learning that if you really listen to your body will tell you what to do. We're just so busy being busy that we don't want to listen. Well, you better listen because you're going to listen sometime in the road. So then we go into the sequence of success, what our group we call the sequence to success, and being able to be rewarded by this kind company that rewards us because we love people and we want to help people. So number 1, I tell people, educate yourself about the plant. Okay, so education, number 1. Number 2, experience what the plant does. Okay, so this is like from the start to the finish is what we're going to cover. So number 1, educate yourself. You don't have to be brilliant, but there's a lot of good information. Number 2, experience it. Number 3, develop your own story. And when you have a story, like the ones we've been working with lately, they have some powerful stories. Okay, so then now you've got your story. Now you can teach the next person, educate them, and then let them experience it. And then thirdly, help them develop their own story. You should hear some of the powerful stories our group have. I mean, they blow me away. And I mean, I've been in it long enough that I wouldn't think I could get excited, but when I see what it does, I get excited. So that's the first thing in this sequence to success. Okay, then what you want to do, you want to find people that are similar to you in their belief as far as they want to be healthy. And you want to have them have what I call the 4 C's. Okay, number 1, they have to be caring of themselves. They want to be healthy, and maybe they want to generate an income too. So they have to care about that. Number 2, they have to be consistent in what they're doing. They may be consistent now, but it's not doing what they want, either health-wise or income-wise. Then number 3, they have to be committed, okay? And that's like the commitment of a chicken laying an egg. Now that's commitment. But the 4th thing is what's the most important. They have to be coachable. So they can be caring and they can be consistent and they can be committed, but if they're not coachable, you're not going to be able to go anywhere with them. So you need to find people that are like that are coachable. And then if they find a good coach, it's really a fun game. It really is. I mean, we have a very, very powerful team. I think Kevin would agree with us on that. So, and then the last thing again that I super appreciate, I don't know where Kevin learned it, but ask and assess. Because see, you might presume that somebody wants to do this or that wants to do that, like with their health. So I ask people, what is it you want to see an improvement in? Then we go from there. Okay. So what do you want to do with this? Do you want to share it with other people? In fact, I asked them 3 questions, and I've taught my group to do the same thing. Number 1, if we can show you an improvement in your health and your immune system, are you interested? I have no problem either way. Number 2, if it works good for you and see some nice improvements, would you be kind enough to tell somebody else? And you know what's neat about people? They don't want to admit that they're not kind enough. So I'm sneaky about that question. Number 3, I tell them, like I told this girl today, it's not about the money. It's about priority. Either your health's worth something or it's not. And I tell people if it's not worth 15 to 20, 25 a week to be healthy, you have your own priorities. Okay. And I was telling this other girl yesterday, once you get back in the program, I said, have you ever seen a hearse with a trailer hitch? You'll never see it. That means you can't take it with you. So if I can't take it with me, then I want to make sure that I put some of that I can't take with me to be healthy. So yeah, it's been a really, really interesting journey. And the more I get involved with it, the more fun I have with it. We have an awesome group all across the country. We're from New York and Pennsylvania, all the way down to Florida, all the way out to Hawaii. So I let my group have me from 10 in the morning until 2 or 3 in the afternoon to ask questions 5 days a week. And I mean, we have such neat discussions on how to achieve health naturally. And it's just a wonderful program, a wonderful journey. So I encourage anybody, if you can do this thing and generate some New Earth rewards, and you could partner with people that want to either be consumers or associates, you're really going to enjoy this thing. I mean, it's the best journey I've ever had. And when I look back and see where I was 28 years ago, and to know where I am right now, when I met with these couple today, Naomi says, I just can't believe you're going to be 80. And I've known her since she was 13 years old. She's 40, just turned 40. And she's so compromised, she just wants to get her life back. So that's all we're here for, just help people to get their lives back that want it. So learned how to ask and assess. And I'll just give you a quick review on everything. Number 1, remember our body always responds to the outside, inside environment, no matter what. I tell people you can't change the environment, but you can change the way the body and the mind handle it. So that's number 1. We want the normal, natural responses. That's what helps us achieve good health, is having the normal, natural responses. See, a normal, natural response is our body even producing extra natural killer cells. You can do research on this plant. It's very dramatic in helping the body produce killer cells, okay? Any kind of chlorophyll, but we have the best source on the planet. So we win hands down. Number 2, remember again, it's not a magic bullet. You have to incorporate it with that answer, the acronym: attitude, nutrition, service to others, water, exercise, rest and relaxation. So that's the number 2 point. Number 3, remember the sequence to success. Get educated right at the beginning. You don't have to know everything about it, but learn enough that you can understand why it works. See the nutrients are in it. Okay, number 2, experience it. Number 3, design your own story, because you will have your own story. I mean, when you hear some of my people's stories, it will blow you away. And then number 3, remember the sequence is each one of those things help your group understand. Another thing too is you're building a team. I didn't cover. You want to teach your team leaders. You want to create servant leaders. These are people that become servants to their people. And you want to teach them 2 things. You want to teach them to be, again, servant leaders, but you also want to teach them to be autonomous. So in case something happens to you, they can still carry the ball. They can carry the torch. So that's the number 3. Then find people that have the 4 C's. Number 1, that they're caring, whether it's their health or they want to generate an income. So they're caring, consistent, committed, but especially coachable. And then the last one, to me, is most important: ask and assess. Because you're going to save a lot of time, just a lot of time. Because and you don't want to convince. This is another thing I forgot to incorporate. Do not try to convince people of anything. Oh, this is going to help your health. If you have to convince them, somebody else is going to convince them of something else. What you want to do is sort and support. Sort out people that want to be healthy and then support them. And then keep in contact with them, encourage them, see how they're doing, see if there's any way you can help them. That teaches you to become a good servant. And that's what we should be. We should all be servants to our people. And you're really going to enjoy the journey if you stay consistent with it, I guarantee. It is a journey to totally enjoy. You can have a lot of fun with this by creating dialogue. I'm going to give you an example of a dialogue. I went in to have some papers printed out, and so I just made a statement to the young lady who was standing next to me. She didn't know I was talking to her, but I just said, I'm going to have fun tomorrow. And so she turns around and looks at me. So what are you going to do tomorrow? I said, I'm going to teach some doctors how to get healthier. And then I didn't say any more. And she said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, well, I'm going to teach them that if they eat this plant, that they're going to be more healthy in different categories. And it's a plant I've been eating for 27 years. And then I didn't say any more. And then she asked me, so what's the name of the plant? I said, Afens omnon flasakwa, AFA for short. The Spanish people call it AFA. But it's actually a form, and I don't like to call it this because everybody thinks they know about it. It's a form of blue-green algae that there's over 1,400 different species. So we've been talking to people from one end of the coast, New York, all the way up to Hawaii. I'm trying to keep track with the hour change. 1 minute I'm 4 hours early, and next minute I'm 3 hours late or whatever. So it's really been a lot of fun. I think you guys are going to, when your group grows to other places, initially we only had a group from like Frisco to LA, and then all of a sudden we got it in the eastern states, and there's a lot of people back there that really listen. I'm impressed, made a lot of friends with a lot of cool people all over the country. It's been a lot of fun. Biggest thing is just create dialogues. And always remember this, when you do a dialogue with anybody, when you make a statement, you ask a question, and you always want to make a little mini friend first. And then when you make a statement, if they don't ask a question, you're probably not going to go anywhere. So you can tell if people are interested or not, but you have to create something that actually makes them interested. And yeah, it just need to be able to create scenarios with people where you can actually get them interested. And like the other day, I was at some grocery store, and the young lady asked me to get this jar of something off the shelf. And then I met her later in the store, and then we got to talking, and I told her we have a conference every Thursday, and we teach people how to get healthy naturally. And so she wanted to just know how to do that. And I met with her that afternoon, and the next day she was so impressed with how good she felt that she got in the program. So you're going to have some people that are very immediate, like that couple today. I didn't think they were going to come in today. I thought they'd want to try it a few days, but within a couple hours, they were feeling good enough that they wanted to get in the program today. So that tells me a lot, so I want to thank everybody that listened in on our little piece of the program today. I hope you enjoyed at least part of it. Maybe some of it you can be able to incorporate. I just feel very blessed. I'm a lot of times able to get on different calls across the country, and to be able to be part of the company today and to be part of the New Earth University, I felt very blessed about it. So I want to thank everybody, the company number one for inviting me, and Kevin, which I always feel is one of my best friends. And the company saved my life 28 years ago. So I have a lot to be thankful for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Really, really great information. And thank you so much for your passion, your dedication, and commitment to New Earth. I agree. The quality of our products are just unparalleled. And so we have a responsibility, an opportunity to get them in the hands of other people so that they can feel the difference. Really great. All right. And speaking of great and feeling great using New Earth products, let's look at another testimonial.
It has made a huge difference in my health, my vitality, and I know, perhaps I don't see it myself, but people see it. So people who haven't seen me for a few years, when I meet them, and the first thing they're gonna say to me, what are you doing? The quality of your skin is amazing. And of course, I've learned that these products make a difference on the skin from inside out.
Thank you for that. Now, don't forget, we have a special New Earth bundle that is available today only. Combination of 5 of our most loved products: Body, Mind, Enzyme, Spectrobiotic, and Energize. I love each of those. I try to take each of those every single day. It is truly, our products encompassed in that Aloha spirit and nature. So we're selling that bundle with a ton of New Earth swag for only $225. That is a over $90 savings. You don't want to miss it. It is over at 8 p.m. So definitely check it out if that's something for you. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. And if you want to use that, and if somebody in your organization or in your space is interested in becoming a wellness entrepreneur themselves, you can use that pack as an enrollment pack, and we will reduce the cost of their enrollment to $49. That's an additional savings of another $50. So check it out. All right. Our next speaker is someone, if you've been to New Earth University in the past, you've seen someone that sits on the front row, usually off to the left, right? Well, if you're on the stage, like I usually am, it's on the right. But it's awesome how much participation and fun he brings to those events live. I hope you can still feel his passion in this virtual environment, in this virtual space, because Stuart Martin is a chiropractor and an incredible doctor. He has brought relief to so many people over the course of his career. And he does something markedly different than a lot of others. He incorporates, to a high degree, New Earth products in his practice, right? Because his practice is all about, well, I'm gonna let him tell you the surprise of chiropractic and what they really focus on. So he's a great friend. He is awesome, and he has some great information to share with all of us. So take it away, Dr. Stuart Martin.
First of all, thanks for having me on. I love any way I can contribute to building the awareness of what our foods can provide in people's lives. I always want to participate, because it's not only a legacy thing. We want to leave the planet better, but it's also I'm also see it that I'm being very pragmatic. That if I help create a bigger pool of interest and customers, it's going to help me too. As in the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. And so that's my attitude. Maybe I can start with a little bit of my perspective and talk to people that are on listening today in the way I talk to my patients and practice members about theology and about our New Earth products. And very often I like to use the term biological imperatives. And so I'd like to talk about biological imperatives today. But first, I kind of wanted to turn the whole notion about the nervous system, or as I like to call it, the nerve system, kind of turn it on its head a little bit here today. And I think very often, and it's not so helpful because it complicates things for people. However, the whole healthcare industry has this notion in the body that there's a nerve system, and there's a circulatory system, and there's a alimentary system, digestive system. There's a reproductive system, and on, all these different systems of the body. However, if you really think about human beings living in a world of biological imperatives, and I'll come back to that term and what I mean by that in a moment, and the human being as a living, breathing organism that is impacted right here now today by, what they do for work, or how they make a living, how they're going to feed themselves. The history of what they're living through and living in, and as well that how they communicate with others, that we're creatures of language. If you think about all of that, and you start to look at how the body functions in a world of labor and history and language, you start to recognize a few things. And one is, as I like to say, it's very likely we have only one system that matters in our body, and that is the nerve system. And in the sense that, as other people would say, oh, there's the circulatory system, there's the integumentary system, or skin, but let's look a little deeper that and see what we find. Number one, we're going to start to notice that, how I like to look at it anyway, and maybe a way that's like halfway, instead of like all these different systems that somehow have to coordinate, to where I see it, which is we have one system, the nerve system, and every other aspect of human biology is a function of that nerve system. I think that's a more accurate way to look at it. And as we dive into a little bit more of how our products can benefit our nerve system, let's talk first about biological imperatives, as I was mentioning earlier. I think it's important in a world where we are literally barraged by information about health and taking care of ourselves, and what we should be doing, what we should be eating, what we shouldn't be eating. There just is literally a barrage of information that people have access to. And I like to point out that it's important that we start to distinguish the difference between what's important and what's imperative. And so I like to say very simply, when it comes to our health, everything is important. Getting proper rest, getting proper exercise, clean water, vital, healthy relationships. Of course, having a fundamental basis of micronutrition, of which I believe our New Earth products are the unparalleled source, in my experience. Having high quality macronutrients, meaning unlike what we get of benefit from our New Earth products, which is the nutrients we need in very small amounts to stay as healthy as possible. We can look at the other side of that, of macronutrients, getting the best source of nutrients that we need in very large amounts to stay as healthy as possible, like fats, like proteins, carbohydrates. And that's where choosing organically, as we, of course, do at New Earth with our micronutrition sources. Not more important, more imperative. Coming back to the topic at hand today, our nerve system has an enormous need for oxygen. enormous need. And in fact, the energy that is generated in our nerve system through the process of cellular respiration generates enough energy to power a 20-watt light bulb. So that old cliche that you often see in the cartoons of someone walking around with a light bulb above their head, there's accuracy to that. We literally produce enough juice, electricity, to power a 20-watt light bulb. And that's all happening through cellular respiration and the electrical process that is our nerve system. So, and this usually stumps my patients and practice members, I described vitamin O, or oxygen, as the second biological imperative. So what, pray tell, could be more imperative than oxygen? And it points to that my premise that our nerve system is in fact the only system in the body is accurate. You cannot live for even 4 seconds without the flow of information, or what I call vitamin I, the impulses that go up and down your nerve system to the tune of trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of nerve impulses every hour up and down your nerve system. That is the first biological imperative. So right there you have it. The first imperative, once again, not more important than anything else. It's just the most vital, the most imperative is our flow of intelligence up and down our nerve system. And in fact, before we get into what that might mean with regard to our products and the function of that nerve system, let's look a little bit more succinctly at how that process works. So my hand right here is your brain, okay? And we're going to make my arm your spinal column. For you to be as healthy as possible, this pathway must be kept clear as early as the birth process. Childhood slips and falls, or what I like to call in adulthood, the 3 T's of traumas, stressful thoughts, and toxins. We can develop what we call in the world of chiropractic interference in the nerve system, or subluxation. That's the $50 word us chiropractors throw around. And that means simply interference in the nerve system, and interference to the flow of intelligence. And if you have that interference, instead of a fast, complete flow of information up and down your nerve system, it's fast and it's staticky. It's fast and it's staticky. It's like the brain and the body aren't as well connected. So let's look at what this might all mean with regard to our New Earth products. If, for instance, our nerve system, if I'm giving you an accurate model, it's accurate to me, and the only system is the nerve system, and the rest is all a function of the nerve system, then the nerve system is there like, wow, that algae's good. But wait a minute, I don't have a mouth. How am I gonna make that algae of use to me? And so the nerve system rightly says, well, of course, I don't have a mouth, but my fibers go to this chewing apparatus here. So let's put some algae in here and swallow it and send it into the furnace that is the stomach. Once again, if this is the case, that this digestive process is simply a function of the nerve system, then the nerve system quite rightly puts the algae into the body so that it can be digested. Energize, another one of my favorite products, Energize. As I said earlier, our nerve system requires an enormous amount of oxygen. But the reality is that that cellular respiration and the quality of coenzyme Q10 that is provided by our Energize in a bioavailable format, the most active form, the ubiquinol, I believe is the term. The fact that it's in a whole food supplement, so that ubiquinol is more easily absorbed into the body in the context of our micronutrient dense superfood, blue-green algae, and of course as well the other the mushrooms, organic and in some cases wild, that's in our Energize, helps another food source. So there's just that, and of course emulsified in oil. Much more likely our body is going to take that in a food source rather than a capsule that's just full of coenzyme Q10 and that's it. And because our bodies for billions of years have been engineered to receive our nutrition with a small n, meaning what we eat, from our food, not from a supplement per se. It's whole foods and whole food supplements that our bodies respond best to, and our Energize is a prime example of that. So looking more at other core products in our nerve system, let's look at Renew. It's a mistake, of course, to think only of nerve cells being the constituent form of our nerve system or constituent cell. The vast majority of cells in our brain, for instance, are not nerve cells. They are, in fact, cells that are large in fat content, and they are critically important for maintaining the structure of the brain such that the neurons themselves have a consistent framework to lay on and lay within, for the, so to speak, for the cable to be laid out on and in. If you travel outside the brain into the spine, that relatively same tissue becomes called Schwann cells. What's changed? Well, for the most part, what's changed is it's not in the brain anymore. And we know that those Schwann cells, which are, once again, high in fat content, are what's critically important for the term saltatory conduction, which is what makes neurons that have those Schwann cells wrapped around their bundles, makes them able to communicate at 325 miles per hour. Our brain and our bodies are able to communicate instantly because of that. Case in point, another type of cell that comes from our digestive function does not have any of those types of Schwann cell. It is not capable of communicating to the brain quickly. There's more types of cells in the nerve system than just neurons, dramatically more. And if we look at our product Renew, of course, we know that the research tells us that it causes a proliferation of adult stem cells. Well, what do we know about stem cells? We know that stem cells are what are required for healing to occur at the level of tissue in our body. So in effect, and once again, and this comes to the importance of my profession, regular chiropractic care, healing does not occur without the direction of the nerve system, right? The fact that we can consume, renew, and give our nerve system a ready boost of stem cells means that any tissue that needs regenerating, that tissue will have an abundance of stem cells that the nerve system can then direct to become the type of cell, be it skin, be it muscle, be it a fatty tissue like in the nerve system, the astroglial cells, or outside the brain, the Schwann cells. These need regeneration. And that nerve system having access to as many stem cells as possible to repair those structural cells is very important as well. So what else can we say? Other products. We could even look at NutriBeautiful. You might say, NutriBeautiful nerve system? What? Right? Well, let's consider that our skin, which is part of the elimination system of our body, it is our, or perhaps function, once again, is the better word. Our skin is the largest organ of elimination. By spreading the NutriBeautiful over our skin, and suddenly our nerve system doesn't have to direct as many of those available adult stem cells to regenerate skin, because the skin is much more protected. And suddenly the nerve system, which senses and sends information back to the spine and from the spine up to the brain, hey, the skin is pretty well nourished right now after that NutriBeautiful. And suddenly go, okay, we still have to clean the body. Let's focus extra energy on helping the liver catch up on its job of cleaning the body. So it might just be that, once again, that even that core product, which we think of as an external product, is also deeply nourishing to our nerve system. And of course, there's the side not even mentioned, which is just how soothing and comforting it is to spread that lotion over our body. Very calming, and suddenly our nerve system is a little easier about things. And so that's kind of zero in on the essentials. But what about the essentials and the nerve system? Well, the essentials I consider to be an ultimate chiropractic formulation. Why do I consider it that way? Well, it's like this. As we every day consume our essentials packets, maybe if we also consume some of the extra loose capsules of probiotics and enzymes, if that's also part of our daily New Earth program, all of that contributes to a healthier functioning digestive function. Now, why that's important is when that is functioning better, the food we eat, what's supposed to get into the blood, once again, because the blood, I'll call it what it is. It's the river of inside our body. And it comes back to the third biological imperative. Why it's so critical to have enough water every day, enough vitamin W, is that water floats your boats. Water, consider that when we eat our food and we have a healthy gut, we can actually go, oh, wow, that's right. If I'm consuming this, what's supposed to be getting into my bloodstream, and like I digest the peanut butter sandwich I just ate, for instance, right? And the well broken down proteins, so shorter chain amino acid structures and maybe longer amino acid chains are getting into the bloodstream, where they get picked up by a protein in the blood that kind of helps safely carry them, safely bolt them to the part of the body where they're needed, right? Well, if that interface between what we're eating in our digestive function and the circulatory function if that interchange is clean and intact, what's supposed to get through gets through, and what's not supposed to get through doesn't get through. What does that mean for your nerve system? Quite simply, if we have an unhealthy gut and partially digested foodstuffs are getting into the blood, it's not broken down enough where our body can as easily use it. And it ends up going through the river system. Where does that, shall we say, junk end up? If it were a river, we would say, well, where you usually see junk in a river is in the backwaters outside the current, right? So one of those backwaters in our body happens to be joints. There's no direct blood flow to a joint for good reason. However, if the blood vessels that surround that joint deliver some partially digested food stuff to the region of a joint, suddenly our immune function comes along and goes, hey, wait a minute, that shouldn't be there. What the heck is that anyway? And mounts an attack on that foreign substance. Suddenly our own immune function is now attacking our skeletal system, and it can leave discomfort in the tissue where it's removed something foreign. And suddenly that discomfort around the joint becomes a source of noxious nerve impulses back to the spine, and that can impact your spinal function, back to the brain, and suddenly your brain goes, what's going on? Oh, it feels like my knee hurts. Doggone it, I got knee pain right now. Right now, that can be one of the ways that knee pain develops in the aftermath of weeks, months, years of an unhealthy interface between digestion and the circulatory function. So that's where our essentials products and kind of rounding out our core products, as we mentioned, becomes critical to nerve function, because suddenly our nerve system, which would maybe rather function on getting the benefits of today's workout, or rather problem solve about maybe a painter, something a painting they're working on. Suddenly the nerve system is drawing the attention, the awareness, the consciousness to joint pain. And of course that joint pain, as I mentioned, can then impact the spine. And of course will kind of we'll need to do something about it. And any way that we can maintain our joint function allows our nerve system to function more on the other functions of the body and less on answering an issue of pain and the decision making that may be helpful in the long run or maybe not. And in parting, I'll give you one more beautiful analogy that down here in Southern California, this time of year, we always dream that this time of year lasts well into October. And that, of course, is baseball season. And I'm often fascinated watching Major League Baseball and those moments where I'm watching this pitcher deliver a pitch that this split second where it's as if the batter freezes. The batter knows exactly what pitch is coming. And the pitch hasn't barely even left the pitcher's hand. And you can see the look, the stance. That batter knows what's coming and is able to respond and hit a home run. And what I find fascinating about that, and it should help people understand this whole phenomenon, is that these pitchers, and the best of them, can throw a fastball with accuracy in the ballpark of 100 miles per hour, which that's fast. Well, I don't drive my car that fast, let alone they can throw a ball with accuracy at that speed, right? Well, it just so happens that that conditioned athlete waiting with that tree at the end of that, at the plate there, is processing 3 times faster than that ball is moving. And is able to use their musculoskeletal function, that nerve system is able to create that home run based on conditioning and the fact that they are processing 3 times faster than that ball is moving.
Thank you, Stuart. Fantastic presentation. I'll tell you, in a virtual environment, when you get Stuart contained and away from the dad jokes, which I'll admit, I'm a huge fan of the dad jokes, then he has just a wealth of knowledge and information. And I absolutely loved that presentation. Thank you, Stuart. And thank you to all of you for joining us for the product section of New Earth University. Aloha. It's been a blast. And we are looking forward to the next section, culture. This is key. If there is anything about Aloha, it is that Aloha, the spirit of Aloha, is a culture. And how does that culture apply to us here at New Earth? If you want to join us on the culture section, it's been coming up in just a little bit, 6 p.m. Pacific. Please join us. Of course, you can share all of this. You could just copy the section link, copy that URL, send it to whoever you'd like. You can also share the whole playlist for the whole event. So please feel free to do that. And don't forget to subscribe. In fact, ring that bell up in the little corner and get alerts. Every time we go live, you will hear it. You will know it. You'll see it on your phone. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you on the other side.